Hello, hello, hello. This is Mark Adams with MCA Certified Tax Preparers, and today we have an honor. We're with Miss Alisha Overton, who is going to give us all types of gems on what it means to be a successful business owner. I'm excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And it's interesting. I didn't say your company name because I want you to do it because your company name is a mouthful. So I said,
I know,
I'm not going
right?
to jack it up on the start. I said, no, no, no. I'm not going to dumb you up on the start. So tell us, who are you? Tell us the name of your company and a little bit about your business.
Okay. The name of my business is the Administrative Concierge. That title was given to me by a HR director that I worked for. She said to me that you do so much more than just administrative support. And so she came up with that title, and so I've kept it. My business is, I have an executive level administrative support business that is for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, primarily in the healthcare and finance industries. I've helped people in other industries as well, but I tend to work with those that are in the art of making the business deal. So I live in Concord, North Carolina, which is about 15 minutes from Charlotte area, but my clients are in different locations on the Eastern Seaboard thus far. So that's what I do.
Okay, cool. And you said that you work primarily in which industry was that?
Healthcare and finance. I have been, I'd say I'd spent the majority, like the first half of my working career, or the first third of my working career, I was in banking. And when I went to administrative support, I've had the luxury of working in different industries. But the one that I ended up sticking with the most is in healthcare, when I was working for someone. And now that
Someone.
and for someone and some people, when I was in corporate America, that's who I spent the majority of my administrative support career, was in healthcare. And now that I'm an entrepreneur of my own, I am supporting people that are in primarily in finance right now. I have some people that are in healthcare, but primarily in finance. So it's the really, ultimately, my client is the client that knows the administrative tasks that they need to do. But either they don't have the energy, the desire, or even the resources to do it. And so I'm the person that will come in, and it could be from organizing them to taking on tasks that they just really honestly they don't want to be bothered, because they want to focus on the thing that they love to do. And so I'm that girl. I come in and kind of help them out.
That's a key role. I remember when I started my business, I had a VA,
Mm-hmm.
and her name was Sue Graff. I called her Susu, and she saved me so much. She would let me just rant and rave, and then she would kind of get me all together and get me focused and help me move forward. She was amazing. Love
Yeah.
Susu. But you start to grow, and I ended up getting somebody in house because she was in South Jersey. You know how challenging that is. So
Yeah.
I'm in North Jersey,
Yeah.
she's in South, but very valuable role. So now you are the customer facing person. You're the one dealing with the customer. When you look at yourself in your business, what do you consider your role?
I am, I've coined this phrase, I am the facilitator.
Okay.
So my role has always been the one that if you have a problem, you have a challenge, you have an idea and you're not really sure how to make the idea come to fruition, you kind of know where you want to go. I'm the person that creates the solution for you. So I've always been a facilitator. So often people, even in my work life, when I worked in corporate America, it was always, Alisha, I need this thing, but I don't know how to get it. And so I knew between the resources that I had accumulated over years, and then just my need and love for learning new things, I would find out how to do it. And I love options, so I'm always finding options for the solution as well. So that has been my thing. I am the facilitator. So if you need it done, and I'm great at covert operations as well. So
Oh,
that's, yeah.
covert
So
operations.
covert operations. So oftentimes people have had surprises, or They had special projects that they knew were going to positively impact someone. So I'm always thinking of ways to get things done. So that's ultimately where the facilitator came from. I've been doing it for many years.
Okay, cool. I always go through this little part of, I call it housekeeping, right? So someone's listening to you, they say, man, I need an administrative concierge. How can we find you? So can you have
Oh,
us,
wow. Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
bless us with
So,
your email, your website address, right? What's your
yeah, my
website?
website address. So, the Administrative Concierge is my website. If you want to find me on Twitter, it is Task Savvy at Task Savvy, Savvy. I am on LinkedIn under my name, Alisha Overton. And let's see,
Number,
Instagram.
phone number?
Phone number would be helpful. Yes. Yes. 917 582 9727. I did not get rid of my New York number. It will remain. It's,
Okay.
yeah, I'll never give that number up.
Say it one more time, just in case we missed it.
917 582 9727.
Awesome. I always tell people to say it a second time because every time that I watch a TV show or I listen to something and I say, oh, I'm interested, the phone number has flashed by and
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
missed, right?
absolutely.
So you got to get the pen and then and then you hear it a second time. So I think we gave them just enough time to get their pen. If not, they're going to have to hit the back button like 15 seconds and they'll get
Yeah,
it that way. Cool.
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
We got it. We got to find you. We got to
Yeah.
find you.
Oh, yeah. I would appreciate that. That would be wonderful.
Absolutely. And that website, the Administrative Concierge, we might have to have a spelling test at the end, but we'll
Yeah, I
see.
know. I know. I
That's
know. I'm working on that. I'm working
all
on
good.
that.
It's all good. It's a process. Business is a process. So how long have you been in business?
So I've been in business since June 2018. So it's been 2 years officially.
Okay.
I feel like I've been in business for over 20 years, quite honestly, because I've been taking I've been taking on, oh my goodness, the random requests that I've received over the years. I have a friend that's very close to me that her husband always, without fail, 4 o'clock, Leash, I need you to do something for me. So it was just, or I have my friends in Chicago and they're like, I'm calling, and I said, what do you want? That's how I just start answering the question. It's
Whoa.
with him I can because he's my brother. So I could just say, what do you want? You want something, right? And he's like, yeah, I need
Ah,
a spreadsheet. I need a document. So I've been doing this for such a long time. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I actually finally took the step to go into business for myself. I've been doing these requests for people for so long. It was a natural progression into, I should just do this on my own for myself. So
gotcha. Well,
yeah.
let's dig into that a little bit if you don't mind,
Okay.
because you know, you said it's a natural progression, but there are a lot of things that I do for people that I would never try to monetize.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you say? I mean, you were working, so you had a job. What made you say, I'm going to leave my job and do this on my own? And that's key because a lot of entrepreneurs are trying to figure out, should I make the leap? And that's kind of what we want to grab from you. What made you say, I can do this on my own?
So a couple of things. One, there were personal pursuits that I knew required that my time be allocated differently. And I knew that in order for me to pursue those goals that I had to do something different. So that was one piece of it. But the major piece was I had realized that I had this progression of administrative assistant career goal trajectory.
Okay.
And all these years, I kept saying to myself, if I position myself, I picked jobs strategically because I wanted to get to the place where I was in C-suite level. And in that level, you had a lot of leverage as an executive assistant. And I realized that I had gotten there and still was unappreciated. I still had to constantly prove myself. I had to deal with gaslighting. I had to deal with jealousy. I had to deal with selfishness. And I really thought about it. I said, I've gone through my career thinking that the pinnacle of my career would be an executive assistant in this beautiful place. And I was sacrificing a lot of myself for the sake of it. And I said, I'm tired of working for people that don't appreciate me. I'm tired of working for people that are just entitled and narcissistic. And I
Oh.
said, and so for me, yes, I said it. And there are a few of them, I can name them. And so, so with that said, I know that sounds harsh, but for me personally, I am a loyal person and I give everything. If I take care of you, if I am your assistant, there is nothing under the sun that you can't get from me. But I need to feel like I know that you know that I'm doing a great job, but at the same token, I'm not an indentured slave. I'm not an indentured servant. And I really honestly started to feel like that. And so in that moment, I had been thinking about my personal goals as well. And I said, this is an opportunity. And you're strong enough to take it. Like, you know, you have to get to a place where you feel confident enough that you can go out on your own. Mm-hmm. You have to feel confident enough that you are a subject matter expert in what you do. And, you know, I could tell, I knew that I was good at what I did because I could tell the people that relied on me. It wasn't just my boss that I was working for. It was people in other departments, in other locations within the companies that I've worked for. And so I knew I was clearly onto something. And so I said, you know what? Coupled with my personal goals, I said, let's do it. Let's do it. And you have to know when it's time to let something go. Let go of an idea or a dream that you thought was going to be fulfilling when in fact it wasn't. And it's okay if you started out that way feeling that, but it's okay to pivot. It's okay to change. You're not obligated to stay within that ideology or that dream or that thought. It is okay to change. And that also shows your own personal growth, as, you know, where you're recognizing the things that you thought about and you were satisfied with maybe 10, 15 years ago, you might have grown. And now things are different. It is okay to change and do something different. Okay. Of course, be smart about it. Be smart about it, but it's okay. And so I took the leap.
I like that. I'm writing down, it's okay to change. It's okay. It takes a lot of courage, though. It takes a lot of courage.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So, I would completely agree with you because I think that there were significant deaths in my life that those people were so instrumental in who I am today, that I knew that to honor their memory, I would keep going. Nice. And so, and I knew that they would expect nothing more or less of me than to keep going. And not just keep going in the sense of existing, but really thriving. And that was the thing that I kept thinking about was, here I am, I have been exposed to beautiful people personally, and then I've had executives that have been mentors to me for so many years. I'm like, why am I going to waste all of that? Okay. Why would I waste it? Use that for where I want to go. And when I finally decided where I wanted to go, I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? My mother would always say, what's the worst that could happen? No, someone says no, but you at least tried. And I think that for me was the most important thing, at least saying that I tried. And if I failed at it, guess what? I could take my skills and go back to corporate America, which is okay. Doesn't hurt, right? Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Your mother said, what's the worst that can happen? My mother always said, nothing beats a failure but a try.
Exactly. Same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, take that leap and see what happens. So now you've done it. It's been over a year.
Yes.
I think the statistic is 50% of businesses fail in the first year. Congratulations, you got over that hump. Yes. Do you consider yourself successful?
Absolutely. And I'm successful because I did it. My company exists. There is an EIN number that exists with it. It's the fact that I actually did it. And to me, I think that is where success comes. where you really literally trust yourself enough to say, even if you think it's going to fail, just think that what could happen if it really worked out? Like, you'll never know that unless you do it. So I absolutely, the fact that my company has a name and it exists, even if my my email address is too long, I just, yeah.
My fingers got a
Yeah,
little tired going toward the
yeah,
.com.
yeah, right. So even with, and that's the other thing, is I'm learning more about myself, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, trusting my gut. Um, I've always, I've always had people kind of, they didn't necessarily make decisions for me, but I've always had a lot of input. And now it's really just me. And so now I have to trust who I am as a person, as a business person, to be able to say, yeah, no, that's not good. Or, oh, that's wonderful. You know,
Nice.
you literally have to, I live by the mantra, everything you want is on the other side of fear. I live by that now.
Whoa, whoa. Stop. Say
I
that
live
one
by
more
that.
time. Say that one more time.
Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And
Everything
I
you want is on
is
the
on the
other
other
side.
side of fear.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it is, it has been the most freeing thing for me business wise to live by that, because what it's done is it's placed opportunities in front of me that I probably wouldn't have had if I did not push past my fear, that fear of perfectionism, that fear of failure, the fear of, oh my goodness, what are people going to think of me? Do I really have anything to offer? I have pushed past that fear so often. And so now I'm like, okay, well, again, I go back to my mom. The worst that someone can say to me is, yeah, no, I don't think we can, I don't think this is going to work out. And what that does is it builds a muscle of you dealing with rejection. It builds the
Mm.
muscle of, okay, well, how do we do things differently? How can I adjust? And that is the thing about entrepreneurship. That's the thing about business ownership, is that you learn, you take those lessons learned and you build on them. And that has been, ergo, why I live by that mantra.
I
Um,
love that mantra.
it
Can
is
I
phenomenal.
can I
The
steal
first
it?
time I heard it,
Can I steal it? Is it all right if I
oh,
have a little swag?
absolutely. Everyone should steal that one, because you're going to have moments where you are scared out of your mind, and you will second guess yourself so much that you stop yourself, you place yourself, you freeze yourself, and that's not good for business, because there's somebody that's somebody else out there that is not scared, and they're
Hmm.
going right past you. And
Wow.
so it's still something I work through on occasions, but for every time that I work through it, it makes me stronger. And so that's just been very helpful to me.
That's beautiful. And I'm going to tell you, I've been in business now for almost 20 years. You're still going to be fearful after year 15. That's just life.
I
You know,
believe it.
I've sat down at this desk right here and worked on some people's stuff and realized I even made a mistake. And my heart still, like, oh, Lord, oh. But then I turn around, a week later, and I'm like, oh, I'm still here. We,
Yes,
we get through it.
yes,
So fear
yes,
is a good thing. It's a driving force in our lives. It protects us. It guards us. But it can also hinder us if we don't have your mantra. Everything you want is on the other side of fear.
yeah,
Ooh, I got it. I got it. I got it.
yes, yes,
I
yes,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
So I like that mantra. I like that it pushes you. Have you ever found yourself though where you've made a huge mistake in your business thus far and you regretted it? Can you share?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I just started rectifying it actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the the biggest mistake that I recognized I made was not investing in my own personal business development. And you you know, the funny thing about that is that I would not have known that I made that mistake until I had the scrapes from the falls
Mm.
that jogged, that kind of hit me to say, yeah, you might want to do that. So I don't know that I would have known that I was making that mistake. I needed to feel the pain and the discomfort of my failing to recognize that I needed to have that.
Wow.
So it was good. Like I had heard, and here's the thing, people had mentioned it. I've heard people say that often, and I thought I knew enough that I'm good. Humility and the failings tell you differently. And in those moments where if you recognize where, when you have more than one person saying the same thing, it's usually right.
Yes.
Yes. So I now have gone ahead and I enrolled myself in an academy that is specifically for women in service industries that offer services that are entrepreneurs. And I'm taking advantage of that training because there were things that I think I ignored them, really, quite honestly, because I thought that I would figure it out along the way. No, you really need to take out the time to actually explore who you are as an entrepreneur, who you are as a service provider, and how you can make sure that you're giving your clients exactly what they need and not what you think they need, or winging it because you've done something for so long that it's tried and true. Yeah, but there are tons of other things. My client that I just signed, they have exposed me to so many different apps, different websites, different applications, different softwares that I have never seen. Like, I don't even know that I've even heard them. But it's that moment of learning that you're like, okay, so Alisha, now you got to do your research. Now you got to do your homework. Now you need to dive in, because you're a subject matter expert in some things, but not this. And you need to make sure that you are, because you're taking care of someone that needs these things.
Right.
And
right.
so my personal development, I wish that I had done it sooner. Thank goodness we're not too far in. But
I'm about to say, I've had people say, "Oh, I wish I would have got my development a little sooner," and they've been in business for 15 years. So
yes,
you learn quickly. That's not bad.
Yeah, no, I sat in a webinar with this woman, and when she started speaking, by the time she got done, I said, this is the person I need. I need this person. And I can't fake like I don't. Let me go on ahead and just sign up and do what you got to do. And so don't ignore the signals. When you feel like you're in the middle of something and you're not completely sure of how to do it, and even in you trying to research it on your own, you're like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, don't ignore the signals when you feel uncomfortable, that you're not sure of something. It's okay to go and ask for help. Perfect. It's okay to go and ask for help. It doesn't make you less than a person.
Right. And I want to dig into that a little bit more, because we often talk about mentors and how people value it. So you had to take that leap to say, okay, I need a mentor. And I'm sure it costs you something. Right? They don't come, we don't come free, right?
No.
But what is the benefit of investing in that mentorship? How does it benefit you personally?
Well, it's opening my eyes to things that I probably would not have thought about. Just the idea of knowing who my ideal client is.
Yes.
That is a failure that so many new entrepreneurs make.
Can I raise my hand? Can I raise my hand on that one? If you got money, I'll do the work. Whatever you ask. That's how I started.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Initially, when I started, I thought that I was going to take care of everyone. And then I had an experience and I was like, yeah, what in the world? Why did I commit to that? And it was a miserable experience, right? And in this training that I'm taking, in this academy that I'm enrolled in, just identifying who I want to be my client, who would want me as their service provider, right? That is like the biggest key, because down the road, what will happen is you can then afford to request a premium that is based on your worth, right? And you're going to have the client that is going to be willing to pay that, because you've matched each other. and you respect each other for what you each bring to the table. It's like, I'm not going to learn that on my own. I'm not going to learn that on my own. Someone has to teach me how to do that.
You have learned a
And
valuable lesson. That's
yes,
right.
I have learned a valuable lesson. And it was, so I have a 90 days. So I got all these lessons that I have to do. And
I got you. I got
yeah.
you.
So, but the thing is that's just the beginning of just
It is.
identifying what works for you and what doesn't. So that kind of knowledge, if you've never owned your own business,
That's it.
if you've never dived into the idea of it, yeah, you need that. You can't
Absolutely.
avoid that. You can't avoid that particular step. So that's why I feel like, that is definitely having mentors. Even some of the bosses that I've worked for in the past, they've been very beneficial to me. I have one that taught me something that I still believe has been very helpful to me. Scheduling business thinking time.
Ooh,
Doing.
ooh, ooh, ooh. I know the book you got that from.
I don't know what book he got it from,
I'm reading
but
that book right now. It's
but
called The Road Less Stupid. That's the name of the book. I'm reading that book right now. And
yeah,
every chapter at the end, he says,
yeah,
schedule thinking time. That's what he calls it.
yeah. And he said to me, I want you to think about where your business would be 5 years from now, and then you work your way backwards. I
Mhm.
said, wow. I mean, he's a very successful physician, and he is world renowned and sought after constantly. And so when he gave me those two gems, they have stayed with me. And so I'm thankful to have people that I've worked for or I have worked with that have been wonderful mentors to me. I'm very
Awesome.
thankful for that.
Awesome. Too many times I run into business owners, especially newer ones, who start out and they say, "Oh, I don't need a mentor. I like to figure it out myself." And it's true. A lot of things I figured out so much stuff by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Cost me so much money, probably, because if I knew what I knew 5 years before when I was trying to figure it out, I wouldn't have made right. That's what happens, right? Or
You
picking
buy
up
the letterhead, you buy the stationery, you buy all the stuff, and you're like, did I use any of that? Did
yeah,
I
yeah.
use
So much things that I thought I knew. But if someone would have told me, so I came honestly to the mentorship game a little later than most,
it?
because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit more arrogant than others probably. And I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. And I was broke, right? I was like trying to make it work. I'm like, I can't afford to pay somebody. I don't have the money to pay them. So once I
Right.
make some money, but I've learned you have to invest in yourself. That's the first thing you have to do. And so when I see new business owners, I tell them the same thing. It might cost, but you will accelerate your revenue generation so much quicker
Yes.
that it'll pay for itself. Take the leap because it makes a big difference. You hit on one ideal client. Um, I wrote an ebook and I talk about the 5 keys every successful business owner must know. I think number 2 is ideal client
Mm-hmm.
because it makes you a specialist, which actually allows you to charge more money, right? But you know how long it took me to figure out to be an ideal client on my own? It took so long. I didn't realize it until I had my first mentor. And he said, "Who do you service?" And I said, "Anybody who got money, because I need it." And he said, "That's the wrong answer." And so we have to learn how to do these things. Mentorship will change the game, so it's very
Mm-hmm.
important. And I'm glad that you are in your academy. It's
Yes.
will help
Yes. Oh
accelerate
my.
your continued growth. So
So
let me ask you this question, and we might have answered it with this conversation. If you could go back right before you started your business, what advice would you tell yourself?
stop obsessing. Do it.
Ah, okay. I like that. Why?
Stop obsessing. Because oh my goodness, I just remember the the sleepless nights, the am I sure, am I not sure, and really quite honestly, when you get to the place where you say you want to start your own business, you're pretty much there. Just stop obsessing. Just go wherever you got to go, whether it means you hire a lawyer to get your documentation together, you go on LegalZoom, wherever you got to go, just go and do it. Just go and do it. There is nothing wrong with just trying. And if you're committed, to being successful, even when you have challenges that you have to work through, even when you have them, it's still going to be rewarding when you get on the other side. Just trust that it's okay to go and try it. Even, and I would also say, when people are like, why are you doing that? I need to have benefits. I need to be working somewhere. I need to be doing this. Yeah. The silence. Just go
Yeah.
silent. You literally have to, no disrespect to anyone, but you literally just have to stop talking about what you're doing and just go ahead and silently go and do it. And you know, people won't understand, and that's okay. There's lots of, you don't need to understand, you just need to respect it. That's how I function. You don't have to understand, just respect it. That's all.
Yeah. And make it happen, right?
And make it happen. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Let me ask you, what do you think is the biggest quality, the most important quality? Let me see. Well, the single most important quality needed to be a successful business owner.
Mark, you would say that, right? You would say
I'm
one word. You would
and I'm
say
saying
one
single.
word, Mark.
Yeah, I'm saying single.
I think, see, I'm torn. I'm torn between fearlessness and discernment. I'm torn between those two, but I think I'm going to lean more toward fearlessness. I think I'm going to lean more towards that. I think that would be my answer. I think that would
fearlessness.
Yeah.
Over discernment.
Discernment.
I feel like
you got to couple the two. It's like you almost have to just add the two together. Like,
isn't that fearless discernment? No. I'm trying to give you what you want here.
I'm with you. I'm like, if it's not a word, let's make it a word. Let's make it a word.
I like to create vocabulary. Yes, I do.
Okay, well, so do I. Webster's is my favorite. I love Merriman. They're my favorite book. It's always my favorite book. I would, in all seriousness, I would say that that fearlessness is really, it's really key, because you're going to touch things that are going to be uncomfortable. You're going to, even if you'll see things that you may have never been exposed to, and you can't let fear stop you from actually doing them. The idea of, okay, if you decide that you want to trademark a logo, but you've never done that before, are you now going to allow fear to stop you from doing it when you know that you need to?
Right.
You're deciding between a sole proprietorship versus an LLC. You know that you should probably be an LLC based on the structure of your business, but you still thinking like how you started out. If you were a sole proprietorship, are you going to allow fear to stop you from doing that because you're afraid of what might happen if you do it? Like, you can't go where you need to go and do it while you're scared. Do it afraid. We hear that so often. Do it afraid anyway. And I promise you, what you thought was going to scare you really isn't anything. It really isn't anything. It's more in your head than anything else.
Yeah, you know why? Because everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Ding!
But I'm gonna throw one caveat at that, because I think it's important. Yes. Fearlessness is a beautiful quality, but what you also said is important, that discernment, because you might make decisions quickly and they might be the wrong one.
That is correct.
Don't dig your heels in and say, well, now I done made myself a C Corp and I'm going to stay a C Corp because I made myself a C Corp. No. Be willing to say, I need to be adaptable, because fearlessness is, it has that other side of it, right? You got to be.
You could just go that way. Just
Yeah.
And you don't want, and I think that's why I say discernment, because you need to know that sometimes people will try and push you into being fearless, when in actuality you should be cautious, and you should be watching what's happening, and you should take your time before you make a decision. Sometimes you'll get clients that are like that. You might get people that want to partner with you that are off to the races and they're off and running, and you're like, I'm still here at the house. You might be on the highway already, but I'm still, come back here with me because I haven't left yet. Let's think about what it is. It's a great idea, but it may require a little more vetting than you think it does. So no, I'm not afraid to take the leap with you, but before I go over the cliff, I'd like to just have a few more details. I need a little
I
little
want to look
more
over the edge.
edge.
I want to see how far down it is.
Listen, not only how far down, are there jagged rocks at the bottom?
Yeah, yeah.
Or is it like a deep ocean and then I'm going to drown if I go down to the bottom? I'm like, yeah, I want to know all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fearless, but I'm not stupid. Right? There is a difference.
Exactly.
There is a difference. So
Exactly.
awesome, awesome. I love that. I have one other question for you.
Okay.
This is and when I send this to folks, I often tell them the general questions, but then I have this curveball.
Okay. I love
Every week.
curveballs.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm not into baseball, but I know about the curveball. And that's why I'm not into baseball, because I never can hit that curveball. I need it coming straight at me. Don't play. These glasses are thick for a reason. Okay. So we have every week we do a weekly mastermind with a small group of business owners. And we kind of vamp on a subject and we try to tie it to our business. So last week we asked a question, and I like to, whenever I'm doing a podcast, ask my interviewee how they tie it to their business. So it's off the cuff. It really shows your ability to be a successful business owner. And I think this is not even a curveball for you. This is going to be a lob. What do they call that?
Okay.
Because you just tackled the subject. Here's a quote that we did last week. It's from Sir Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Mm-hmm.
You tie that to business.
I've worked in a number of businesses that saw a transition. When I was in banking, I worked for a bank that went through 3 mergers.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So your ability to adapt to challenges, changes, you might not, like, you can think about it just as simply as now we can't meet in person. And typically, even for me, some of my clients, I would drive to them. I'm not solely virtual. I am a person that will come to my client and come into their office and work for them, but now I can't.
Right.
And so you can, as a business owner, you can either wallow in, oh my goodness, it's changed. Good book to read. Who Moved My Cheese? The best book for change. If you want a quick assessment of who you are as a person with change, Who Moved My Cheese is the best book on the planet. The quickest read, but the most impactful. And I'm a firm believer that if you don't look forward and see where you have to adjust, you won't.
It's true.
And if you don't do it, you'll die. Business wise, there's so many people that don't, because they won't change. They're stuck in trying to understand and analyze why the change is happening. They miss the opportunities that come from when you do change, when you do adapt, when you do adjust. And that, for me, is what I don't ever want to do for myself. So that quote is so true. I don't care what happens, you keep going. And if that means that you're working it out as you're going, great. If you have the time and the opportunity to change it, you can stop and change it. But don't stop. Keep going.
Nice. Very nice. Well, Alisha, I thank you so much. I ended up going a little bit longer than we normally do, but that's because you were dropping dimes on us. And I'm going to take that quote and I'm going to run with that one all day and all night. Everything I want is on the other side of fear.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. It's been my pleasure. I appreciate it.
We look forward to continuing to see your journey to success.
Hope so.
It's going to happen. All right.